Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's JamBox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And with that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. All right, thank y'all so much for watching. Again, shout out The Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. I guarantee you're going to like it. And make sure to use code JamBox for 20% off and a free gift. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
What's up? I'm Mal Sueno.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, what you do, give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
My name is Mal Sueno. I come from Salem, Oregon. I make rock star music, just alternative hip hop.
Okay, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And what got you started with music initially?
I got started, it was actually a meme. It was a meme going around, there'd be a house on fire and somebody's playing a mixtape, right? So I was in middle school and I want to make a mixtape because I want to ride this trend or whatever. So it started off as a joke, and then I realized I like music, so I started doing it a lot more.
Hell yeah. No, I dig that. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter how you start as long as you get started.
Yeah.
But I dig that.
Yeah.
And was anybody in your household musical, or was anybody around you growing up, or are you the first generation of musician?
So nobody really does music, but music was in the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was some of the earliest music you remember hearing growing up?
So my mom's white, but she bumps a lot of Mexican music.
Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of Kepas, Tierra Cali, a bunch of romantical Mexican music, and I would hear that always in the car and just always jamming that. So I think that's where I draw a lot of the stuff I rap about from.
Okay, yeah, I definitely can see some of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then we have a couple foundation questions we check in with everybody on just for continuity of the show. But this first one is one we ask early, it's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
That's a hard one. I think with my money, it either would have been Acid Rap by Chance the Rapper.
Okay.
Or it might have been Question Mark by X. I'm not sure.
I mean, I guess what drew you to those two albums?
Okay, so I started really getting into music towards the end of middle school, and one of the first underground artists I found was Chance. Chance had just come out with Acid Rap. He was getting ready to release the third one. I forget what it's called. But yeah, so, and then X is just a big part of everything that I do. That's the only artist I cried when they passed.
Yeah, no, understandable.
Yeah.
And then what was one of the first live shows you ever went to that was one you wanted to go to? So you saw it was happening, you got the tickets and you went to it.
Juice WRLD and Ski Mask.
Okay, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I bet that was wild.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, was that a really influential show for you?
Yeah, definitely. When he came out, and I'm in town, party's going, it changed my life.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then do you have a defining moment where you decided you wanted to take music more seriously?
When I got out of high school, I was all I really don't want to go to college. I really don't want to go to work. I work, but I'm pursuing this. This is what I want to do. This is what makes me happy. This is what gets me out of the bed in the morning. So.
Oh yeah, no, I feel that for sure. Well, then let's go ahead and let's talk about what you're doing with music now. And we're going to get a super easy one out of the way. How'd you pick the name?
Mal Sueno. Okay, so I got to get in depth. Mal Sueno means bad dreams, right? So the meaning behind that is, you know, whatever's keeping you up at night, what's like preventing you like from achieving what you want to achieve, you know, it's using that as motivation. You know, like somebody said, you can't do something, right? And that's keeping you up. That's in your head, whatever. Like it's using that as motivation to like go out there and get it. You know?
Interesting.
So, bad dreams, you know, Mal Sueno.
Oh yeah, no, I dig that for sure. Yeah. And also the name of your most recent album. So that's I dig that. But before we talk about your current music, let's talk about your writing style. And we're gonna kind of cover all of it. But we're gonna break it up into chunks and start right at the beginning. When you get a track started, what are some of the things you do first?
Really, it just like it depends on the day. Like I'll sit down and I'll hear this beat and like I'll write to it and then I'll try and record on it. And if it sounds good to me, like I'll keep it. If it don't sound good, I won't keep it. And then I'll workshop it for like a couple days and then be like, oh, this beat sounds way better. And like I'll just have it in my head and then I'll finally go and record and it's a hit.
Oh yeah. And do you write? Do you freestyle? Do you do like kind of a mix of both? How do you go about like getting the words down?
I definitely write. I can't freestyle like at all.
Okay.
Like I'll freestyle with like the homies like kicking it, but I cannot freestyle. Like,
hey, that's all right. It's definitely a particular approach, but I mean, I've heard plenty of people who are nasty with the pen. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it just comes down to whatever works best for you.
Yeah, definitely.
And your music is a little more like melodic. You know what I mean? Like you're not just out there like yeah. Like, you know, you've definitely got a bit of a like a vibe in your sound anyway. And then once you get a track finished writing, so it doesn't have to be like put out per se, but once you've gotten all the words down, how long does it usually take you to get comfortable performing it?
Okay, so here's a little story. I've only done like 3 shows and I'm still terrified of like performing. So the last show I did was a flow show.
Oh yeah,
shout out Shane Taylor.
Yeah, shout out Shane Taylor.
But that was
and the Brothers Apothecary.
But that was one of my worst shows ever. Like I'm still like trying to find like who I want to be on stage. You feel me? Like I'll try and get the crowd going and like I'll try and like yell, but like my voice really ain't there. So like I don't and it gets like shaky and stuff. And so I'm really trying to find like who I want to be on stage. Like I just like started doing shows like beginning of this year. So
okay. Well, I guess then let's dig into that for a second though. What are some of the like hangups you're experiencing on stage right now?
Just like, you know, because I feel like my music really got star power. Like, you know, like I don't go up there and I don't go butter. Yeah. No. Like, no, like you gotta feel what I say and you really gotta go along with it. So that's what I'm looking for, that energy. Like when I'm on stage. Okay. You know, I want people to sing along. I want people to like go crazy. You know, that might sound a little entitled, but like I feel like to be a rapper, you kind of got to be entitled a little bit.
I mean, I think that there's nothing wrong with wanting people to connect with your music. Yeah. Like that's definitely important. But I mean, finding stage presence is the never-ending battle. Like you know, there's some people who as soon as they get up there, they forget how to do everything. There's some people who are the most boring people until they get on stage, and then suddenly they're a ball of energy. But I think figuring out what you can do and what's recurring and what's going to be memorable, it's not easy. You know what I mean? Like some people have like natural stage presence, but everybody can kind of learn what to do on stage. And I think it's really mindful of you to be acknowledging of the fact that you're like, I don't know what I'm going to be like on stage yet, but I'm looking for it. So I think, you know, really that kind of just comes down to like practice. I would say, you know, if you can like throw a couple mirrors up on, you know, the longest wall in your house and just practice going back and forth, work at like, you know, making sure you're always facing that and not like turning your back to the crowd. That's like the biggest one is like, as long as you don't look away from people are going to remember you.
Yeah. The biggest thing is like, you know, I battle with like anxiety too. So like, it's really hard for me to like even be up there, like even to be like on camera or anything. I'm like, like, I really got to do this.
No, I feel that. I've never been a front person in any of like the music projects I was in. So like when I first started doing this as like a video format, I was just like,
Yeah.
Is my shirt turned the right way? And now like after like 200 of them, I feel very different than I did in the beginning, but it's very understandable. And I mean, it's something that I think only comes with time. So like really just like getting out and doing more shows, even like booking your own shows, I think is a way that can like really help, because then you know that the audience is mostly going to be like people that you wanted to be there. And I think that kind of creates a little different comfort.
Yeah, I actually did throw my own show. It was Bad Dreams Volume 1.
Oh, huh.
It was like a very like rinky-dink like operation. You know, I had shout out 6 shout out Addicts, shout out 3 a.m. there. You know, and you know, I got that taste at that first show I did in McMinnville, right? And I wanted it again because I love being on stage. I don't like the like, you know, going up there, but once I'm up there, I love it.
Yeah, the anticipation before getting on stage, I think, is the most stressful part for a lot of people. Yeah. But once you also, I don't think a lot of people realize that when you're on stage, the lights make it so you can't see the people a lot anyways. Yeah. And that's really helpful. That's actually a big plus that nobody realizes until they get up there. And then they're like, oh, I can't see any of you anyways.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely a plus in its own way. But like I said, it just comes with time. I'm sure, you know, once you get comfortable with the way of performing, once you get comfortable with just like knowing your cues, knowing what to do, I think one thing you could probably try is like rehearsing some movements. Like, I'm not saying choreograph your whole show, you know, you don't have to be like, you know, Michael Jackson out there. Yeah. But like, if you know that you need to do certain things in certain spots of the song, then you can just work from getting from one point to the next point to the next point. And that just kind of gives you a way to like, it gives people familiarity too. Then they're going to be like, oh shit, I remember he did that last time and he did this again. So it was intentional. And that just gives the idea of controlled stage presence, which goes a long way without having to put a lot into it.
Yeah.
So that's just, you know, something for later.
Yeah, no, like I got a song called Demon Time. And like, I'll look back at 6 and I'll be like, yo, like, what's your clock say? And he'd be like, oh, whatever time it is. And I'll be like, no, I think it's wrong. I think you need to get that check. I'll be like, it's demon time.
See, and that's awesome. Like, that's a cool way to get like a little bit of crowd interaction, a little bit of stage interaction even, because I imagine he goes up with you each time. Yeah. And so that goes a long way towards, again, the rememberability. That's a cool thing to have, because that's something only you can do because you're the one with the song. And so eventually, instead of asking him, you could even be like, hey man, you know what time it is? And be like, oh, it's this. And you could be like, I don't think so. Everybody, do you know what time it is? Yeah. And then people are going to be like, it's Demon Time. And you're going to be like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely at this last show that I threw, like I was definitely more in my element.
Hell yeah.
Like, I feel like coming out to Portland was like, I had to, you know, it was basically like my first show again.
Yeah.
So like I was super nervous. I was like, I don't want to do this. So then I got up there. I felt it was pretty good, but then looking at the footage, I was like, no, I could have done better.
Hey, I mean, there's always room for growth, but also, you know, once you check the tape one time, don't dwell on it. Just make some notes and move on to the next one. Be more prepared for the next one. That's the big secret.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But let's go ahead and let's talk about your music a little bit. Because, I mean, first of all, your most recent album, Bad Dreams Volume 3, a whopping 25 tracks. It's like an hour and 5 minutes long. That's huge. That is so much music to just be dropping all at one time. And I mean, it's got a lot on there. I mean, the beats all slap. Your mixes are solid. I mean, you kind of got this like low key like Ken Carson sound, but not so much that you sound like just like him, but just like there's kind of that energy in it, which is really cool. Yeah, definitely.
A lot of people say Juice WRLD.
Yeah, and then you only had 2 features.
Yep,
and they were the same person.
Yep,
like 25 tracks. 2 features, so it's just you rocking it the whole time.
Yeah, because it's really hard for me to do features because like I want people to be on the same vibe and stuff. Like I don't have many features just like in general.
Yeah,
because I don't have a lot of like rapper friends, but I also don't have like a lot of people that do the same music I do. My stuff is very like, I wouldn't say unique because I don't want to be cliche, but it's different than like the scene out here in Portland.
I mean, I would say it's definitely different than like probably some of the like general people that you've been around, but like it's got a very particular feel to it. But I think that's something where a lot of people are kind of looking for that too. Like I would say maybe if you lean into it almost a little bit more R&B-ish, then people are going to want to have you featured on their track because that's kind of that like that melodic sound that can go in addition to a lot of sounds. And your sound is really dialed. Like you clearly, you know what you're looking for and you know how to do it.
Very emotional.
Yeah, very much so. And actually, funny enough, I do this bit where I like pick out tracks from, you know, like a personal pick of my own. And for me, I would pick Love Me, the interlude.
Love Me?
That track, it had this bite to it, but it felt like loose in a very controlled way. And it felt like you didn't dial back on that track. Like you really just kind of leaned into it. And then like that vibe kind of comes back in Leave Now, Love Later. Like but that one you came in way hotter. Like that one, you just guns blazing on that one. And it gave it a really big feel. But like the energy kind of carries well into the track after as well. Infinite Lullaby. Yeah. And like you have like, which I thought you saved a lot of your really strong tracks for the second half of the album.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That kind of gave it a really big energy as you were getting through it. Although, sorry, just, I have to ask, what are the major difference between Mad Bad Ending and Mad Good Ending?
Okay, so to explain that, so the bad ending, like if you were to stop the album right there, the storyline of the album, if you were to stop right there, that's the bad ending. If you go all the way to the good ending and then go to IV, which 4, that's the good ending. Basically, the storyline is like me coming to terms, like accepting that this person is gone in my life and they're never coming back. So, and then the bad ending is me, like, I still care. Like, I still, it still controls me, like, you know.
Interesting. Hell yeah. No,
I don't know which ending I got.
Yeah, fair. And I mean, like, honestly, like, I kind of thought that was the case. I just wanted to, like, see what, like, the thought process behind that was. And then also, I thought it was interesting that you ended the album with IV. Because that track definitely feels different than the rest of the tracks by a little bit. It's kind of got that more like, you know,
poppy.
Yeah, like it definitely had that feel to it. But you did it really well. Like, is that a sound you're going to try to explore more in the future?
Yeah, definitely. See, the thing is, with a lot of those tracks, I feel like it's like almost like I'm creating something kind of new. Like it kind of feels like, you know, they got this sound called new jazz, right? I feel like I'm doing kind of like a new, like grunge kind of like, you know, like melancholy, like type stuff.
Hell yeah. No, I dig that for sure. Now, I mean, again, the album has so many tracks and you've definitely put out a fair amount of music before that and after as well. But I'm curious to know, what is your favorite song to perform? My
favorite song, Rockstar.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah, Rockstar. And I got a couple new ones I really want to perform, but Rockstar is my favorite one.
Okay. Well, let's dig into some of your newer music. Let's talk about stuff that hasn't come out yet. How can you like describe the new sound?
New sound. I don't know. It's just more perfection on what I did. Cause like this album, one of my best to date, but it's very rough. I feel like I finally found my sound though. And I'm just tweaking it now.
Okay.
So yeah, I got like some new coming out. Requiem. I don't know when it's coming out, but yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I guess, like, can we look forward to more like higher energy? Can we look forward to more like emotional approaches? Like, what are some of the things that are going to set this apart for your new music versus like what you've already got out?
More like emotional, but like with the energy too.
Okay.
It's like you can feel what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like very real, very connecting. Whether it be I'm talking about a girl or I'm talking about like, you know, like substance abuse or something like that. But but I like mix it to where like you can feel the energy. Because now that I'm on stage, like the music I did before, I didn't really feel like, oh, like there's no energy. Like I ain't feeling this. Now that I go in the booth with like that mindset, like I can still rap about what I did, but like make it more like intense.
Gotcha. So kind of more like Leave Now, Love Later.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn. Hell yeah. Definitely looking forward to that. And then let's take a second and let's zoom all the way out. We've dived all the way into music of yours that hasn't even come out yet, but let's take a second and let's look at just music in general. What are some of the things about newer stuff that's happening right now that you really enjoy?
So the thing is, I don't really listen to a lot of newer music. I listen to Juice WRLD. I listen to X. I listen to, you know, like What's it called? City Morgue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, just very. I don't really get down with like all the newer wave stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I like melodic stuff. I like, you know, I like rock and roll, like stuff like that. You know, a lot of the newer stuff like just doesn't resonate with me.
Okay. Well, then I guess what makes you stick to those artists in particular? What is it about them that like really stands out to you?
It's just they're spitting like you know, everything they say is just like real. It resonates with me. Like that's my whole goal with like music too, is like you know, these artists, like they spoke to people. Mm-hmm. You know, they have a very like cult like fan base. Like people will die behind these people. You know, I want that.
Gotcha. Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then before we move into the next portion, I've got one more question to go in this middle bit. And this is probably the densest question in the interview. But we talked a lot about, you know, your experience with music, the actions, the reactions, things like that. But when it's just you and the music one-on-one, what does the music give back to you?
Just euphoria, pretty much. Like when when I make like a good song, mm-hmm. like I can tell that it's good. Like I know in my heart it's good. It's just like, you know, it's like a different type of feeling. I feel like I'm doing something. You feel me? Like, yeah. Like I'm changing the world or something.
Yeah, that's powerful. Yeah. Euphoria is a good word for it.
Yeah,
that's not one I hear a lot in that answer. So I could definitely dig that for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But let's go ahead and let's move on to some hypothetical questions. And for these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well. But this first one is pretty straightforward. If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive. Who would you want to work with, and how would you want to work with them?
Peso Pluma. I really want a song with Peso Pluma because it would just be cool. Like I love Mexican music. I really love all music. Mm-hmm. I'm about to get controversial. I don't like country though. But I love all music. I love Mexican music, and I really want to like Peso Pluma just made a song with I'm gonna butcher her name, Kalia Uchis. Mm-hmm. Like that song was amazing, and it's like so different because he came out very like, you know, cartel, like corrido type music, and now he's doing like pop and like all that. So like it just goes crazy, and I love his voice too.
Oh yeah. And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
McConan.
Oh yeah, yeah.
McConan.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, shout out McConan.
Yeah, shout out
Hit me up.
McConan. Hell yeah. And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limits, and it's pretty literal in this sense. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, it was guaranteed the best lineup, guaranteed the best show, and it doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere. Where would you want to perform?
I think Hawaii. Hawaii would be cool.
Oh yeah.
Like right next to the beach or something.
Yeah. Do you have any like specific island you would want to perform on?
No, I ain't never been there. So
hey, just make it a whole island tour and just do one night on each one.
That'd be crazy.
Oh yeah. Hey,
that'd be awesome.
There we go. $1 million idea.
I'd be wearing a Hawaiian shirt and everything too.
I mean, like, you'd kind of be required to. You
full luau gear. Like
each island you go to, you add one more lay on until you get to the end, and you have all of them.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's gonna happen.
Nice.
No worries.
Well, make sure to shout me out on the first show.
I definitely will.
All right, and then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have not put out an album in 100 years, they could have put out an album yesterday. Who would you want an album from?
X. I would say Juice, but Juice has like a lot of unreleased stuff. X, like I felt like I haven't really been listening to him because I've heard his songs like they're done to death. I want more stuff. Oh, okay. So like if I could have anything, yeah, definitely from X.
Hell yeah. All right, and with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. What can we look forward to between now and the end of the year?
So I got a couple shows coming up. Me and Six of them are planning another one for like around August, and then I got one coming up in June. And then Requiem. Requiem is my next project EP I want to do. Look up the definition of Requiem, and then like you'll get the gist of the album.
Hell yeah.
So,
and then for this next one, go and look straight at the camera. Tell everybody how they can find you.
So you can find me on Instagram at Mal Sueno _IG. Yeah, that's about it. And then on streaming platforms.
Oh, yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Shout out 6 shout out 3 a.m. Shout out Manny Reckless. Shout out Addict. Shout out 2 Flights. Yeah, we're good. Shout out Wayne Gray.
Oh, yeah. Shout out 3 a.m., 2 Flights, and Wayne Gray, all guests of the show. All right. And then we got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. Guarantee you're going to like it. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation. But what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people would know, but it's one you think everybody should know.
I want to say, I don't know, something by Tyler, the Creator. I feel like Tyler, the Creator slapped on.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, like now, definitely not so much. His newer stuff for sure is popular, but any of the early stuff, I think, it definitely went under the radar.
Yeah, because like Tyler, the Creator came out with like all those old heads, like, yeah, and like he's still relevant. So, yeah, if you listen to Tyler, the Creator, you don't listen to Tyler, the Creator unless you heard Bastard.
Hell yeah. All right, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get up on out of here. Thank you so much for joining us today. And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's JamBox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Mal Sueno.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.